the word of the century. It has shaped the last 2 years of our lives and is likely to continue to do so. Upon hearing the word social distancing, images of masked up individuals immediately come into our mind. Gone are the days where big gatherings occur. Instead, we have all been snatched of our sense of normality. What is social distancing really about? This distancing seems to be more physical in nature, with people quarantining in order to avoid catching the virus. But when we think about the social aspect, are we really that distant? One positive thing that has emerged in all this darkness is how socially connected the world has become. The pandemic has led to the startup of many new interesting social initiatives that aim to encourage, to give, and to support. Good morning, everyone. My name is Aanya Rao, and I'm extremely honored to be here with all of you. Today, I'm not here to discuss the downsides of the pandemic. Neither am I here to further socially distance all of us. Instead, I'm here to share a story about how vital this pandemic has been for our community and in sowing the seeds of social entrepreneurship. Now, when I say the word social entrepreneurship, what do you all think this really means? Social entrepreneurship is all about a group of like-minded individuals coming together to solve social issues and create real community impact. Social entrepreneurship in Singapore has surged over the years, with the sector size now at 80 million. Whether it is to tackle long-standing environmental issues or to simply explore new opportunities, more passion-led organizations are constantly emerging. Now, a key question is, what are the main attributes that are actually causing this sudden increase in social entrepreneurship too? When we were first introduced to lockdowns and circuit breakers last year, it was definitely not easy for everyone. Routines were disrupted, and there were sudden switches to online methods of learning and working. In the initial days, people started feeling disconnected from each other. With borders closed, families were separated. Forget that. Even meeting your loved ones in the same neighborhood became increasingly challenging. I think we can all agree that humans are social creatures. Being human means having that innate desire to love, to care, and to interact with our community. The pandemic, through physical distancing, has given rise to limitations as to how we can show that care towards our community. However, I believe that these limitations have actually transformed and turned into inspirations for people. Inspirations to find different virtual avenues through which they can show that affection to their society. Just building on this, I wanted to share with all of you a very personal experience of mine. In early 2018, my father went through a second kidney transplant. It was definitely a very difficult phase, not only for him, but for me and my entire family. It was physically and emotionally draining. When I used to accompany my father for his hospital visits, I noticed a very monochromatic feel in these centers. The inner artist in me immediately realized that a change was absolutely essential. My thought process was simple. For all healthcare workers and patients for whom these centers are almost synonymous to home, it's only fair that they have a vibrant and positive environment. That's when that very moment served as a foundation for my social entrepreneurship journey. However, it was only in the circuit breaker last year when I realized how important it was for me to take part in the social change that was taking place in Singapore and do my small part for the community. That's when I founded ArtConnect, a student-led ground-up initiative aimed at connecting the student art community and healthcare. Today, the ArtConnect team has grown to over 30 plus student volunteers and an artwork database of over 150 artworks. But the main thing that keeps me motivated at ArtConnect is just how we've been able to give so many students a platform to not only display their creativity, but also develop an inclination towards patient care and community service. Now, ArtConnect is just one of the many thousands of initiatives that have started during the pandemic. But many of you might be wondering, what exactly is causing people to explore social entrepreneurship as an area of interest? That's where I want to introduce the topic of the Great Resignation. Many of you might have come across this term, which refers to the widespread trend of a significant number of workers leaving their jobs during the pandemic. While it is typically discussed in an American context, the phenomenon is definitely international. And I think it will help us understand the attitudes of individuals even in Singapore. One of the biggest reasons for the Great Resignation phenomenon is how disengaged employees are with their jobs. The virus has taught us how unpredictable life can be. And in such times, people want to replace that unpredictability by finding purpose in their day-to-day life. An awareness and an awakening has been kindled in everyone, saying, oh, I want to do work that's meaningful and that's creating real community impact on a day-to-day basis. In the experienced workforce, we see this in the form of them pivoting from their corporate roles and joining social enterprises. And when it comes to the millennials, they are starting out their professional lives centered around these social objectives. It's almost as if the pandemic has triggered an epiphany, one that encourages community service, not just alongside our work, but integrated into it. While the pandemic might have sparked this change, it is definitely Singapore as an ecosystem that has inspired more people to embark on a social entrepreneurship journey, just by how easily accessible resources and support is to start your own initiative. Let's just work around this idea with the example of the National Volunteer and Philanthropy Center, NVPC. I was introduced to NVPC at the very beginning of my social entrepreneurship journey. And the work that they do continues to inspire and amaze me. They are a non-profit organization which aims and envisions Singapore as a city of good, where leaders, organizations, and ground-ups come together to do good for others. However, the main thing that stands out for me about NVPC is their commitment to get every single individual in Singapore involved in creating that city of good. I have been actively involved with one of their sub-organizations, Ground Up Central, that have helped countless young entrepreneurs in Singapore setting up their own initiatives and spreading awareness about it. But they have also done something that's beyond just marketing and outreach. What they have done is create this immense network of leaders, youth, organizations that can really support one another. I recently joined a leadership huddle organized by NVPC, where I met 10 inspiring founders of social Singaporean initiatives. Through the course of this 2-month program, I had the incredible opportunity of just discussing with these founders on different collaboration opportunities and how we can expand our respective initiatives. The main reason I wanted to share this with all of you today was to show how invested Singapore is in creating these entrepreneurial ecosystems and forums. They're available to everyone, regardless of age, qualification, or ideas. Take, for example, the huddle I attended. There were founders who had been running their initiative for the past 10 years, while I had only started mine a few months ago. It just goes to show how Singapore really wants more youth to step up and create meaningful projects. Now, finding that meaningful project may seem like a challenge. I know for many of us, especially students, often hard to channel that inner confidence and start something. However, the most important thing is taking your passion and combining them with your interest to create something. That meaningful is something you decide for yourself and will automatically result in confidence. I don't claim to be an expert, but I definitely have a few pointers for all of you out there who are interested in starting your own social enterprises. The most important thing is to not be afraid to reach out, be it to your seniors in school or even local ministers. If you have something worth sharing, then you absolutely must share. Another thing is identifying role models, especially in an area like social entrepreneurship. Having inspirations and role models can let you and give you more advice on how you can start your own initiative. That's where I want to introduce the topic of human libraries. It is a concept that was born in Denmark in 2000 and is now organized globally. Essentially, in a human library, real people are on loan to readers, and readers have the opportunity to listen to their stories firsthand. The main reason and the main positives about joining a human library is that it allows you to connect with people from different cultural backgrounds, meet social entrepreneurs across the world, and seek advice from them on how you can start your own journey. The human library is extremely relevant in today's context, especially because it bridges those physical distances that have grown between us as a result of the pandemic. Sitting here in Singapore, I'm able to speak to a social entrepreneur across the globe and listen to their thoughts and experiences, therefore forging those social connections. I can definitely vouch for this because I had the privilege of being invited for a human library as part of the National Day celebrations this year as a book. Not only did I have the experience to share my own stories, but I also learned so much about social entrepreneurs from the other books out there. The human library is just one of the countless opportunities that you can explore to start your own journey. But the most important thing is to keep exploring, keep discussing, and keep aspiring. And no matter how cliche this may sound, never ever give up on your dreams. The pandemic has created a revolution of social change led by the youth of Singapore. They want to discuss and they want to encourage new ideas. This TEDx conference is just a testament to that. Yes, we may be restricted by our distancing measures in place. But yes, here we are today with an amazing lineup of speakers who are sharing ideas that are worth sharing. These past few years, we have been extremely successful in starting a change of social entrepreneurship and sowing the seeds of entrepreneurship in the minds of all youth. But the next step for you and me is taking that change, continuing it, and making it even bigger. Thank you.